Welcome to Not Your Average Counsellor, the space where we tackle the unfiltered, often messy realities of love, relationships, and human connection. I'm V Vinci, and I am not your run-of-the-mill counsellor. With over a decade of experience working with clients and my own lived experiences to draw from, I help people all their hidden parts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because only when we face our truth can we step into our most authentic selves. This series, Messy Truths, is where we dive headfirst into the things we're all thinking, but nobody's brave enough to say out loud. You know, those 2 a.m. thoughts that make you question everything about your relationship, your choices, your sanity. We're breaking down the tough questions people are often afraid to ask. The ones that make you squirm, laugh nervously, and then immediately text your friend saying, "Oh my God, did you hear that episode?" We'll explore the emotional, psychological, and social dynamics at play. Have you ever wondered if it's manipulative to use your partner's insecurities to win arguments? Or questioned whether you should stay with someone who refuses to work on their mental health? If you've ever found yourself thinking, is it selfish to not want children when my partner desperately does? Or should I fake orgasms to protect my partner's feelings? You're not alone, and you're definitely in the right place. No sugarcoating, no cliches, just honest conversations about the messy, complicated, sometimes hilarious reality of being human in relationships. This is where your inside thoughts finally get their moment in the spotlight. Let's get uncomfortable together. Hello there and welcome back. I am V Vinci and you are listening to Not Your Average Counsellor. Today we're diving into a little juicy topic that I don't normally dabble in, but so many people can relate to and almost nobody talks about, and that's what I absolutely love to do. Talk about the things that people think but don't say. So, should you fake orgasms to protect your partner's feelings? And before you cringe or laugh or feel that little pang of recognition in your chest, just know this: faking orgasms is far more common than most people admit. Now, this is not just one for the ladies, because whilst ladies need to be responsible with their own sexuality, men listening to this can actually be really transparent and go to their partner and go, "Hey, do you do this?" Because for me, honesty is the pathway to connection. So, the reasons behind people faking orgasms, well, they're really simple. It's not just about pretending. It's about pressure, conditioning, fear, avoidance, and the stories that we've been taught about what sex is supposed to look like. So let's try and unpack this, not in a shame way, really not even in a clinical way, but in a grounded, emotionally honest way. So let's start with why people would fake orgasms. The motivations are usually layered. Some people do it to protect their partner's confidence. They don't want their partner to feel inadequate or discouraged. Some do it to avoid awkwardness or embarrassment. Some do it to speed things up when they feel like they're done, and some do it to avoid conflict or disappointment. Some do it because they've learned, consciously or unconsciously, that their pleasure is secondary. So, what's it look like in everyday life? Well, you're in the middle of sex and you realize you're not going to get there. There's no orgasm for you. Maybe you're tired, maybe you're stressed, maybe your mind is somewhere else. But you can feel your partner trying and you don't want them to feel like they're failing. So you perform. You make the sounds, you tense your body, you give them the reassurance they're looking for, and afterwards they feel proud and you, feel slightly disconnected. Not necessarily upset, just not fully there. And here's the part that most people don't realize. Performance often comes from social conditioning, not true desire. We're taught that orgasms are the finish line, that they're the proof of good sex, that they're the evidence that everything is working. And so people perform to keep the script intact. But this leads us into the pressure to perform in sex. Cultural scripts teach men to feel responsible for delivering pleasure. They're taught that their worth as a partner is tied to their ability to make someone orgasm. Women are taught to feel responsible for appearing satisfied. They're taught that their partner's confidence depends on their reaction. And so orgasms become proof of success rather than shared enjoyment. And ask yourself, when did sex become something we perform instead of experience? So this looks like in everyday life is you're lying in bed with your partner, and instead of tuning into your body, you're thinking about how you look, how you sound, whether they think you're enjoying it, or whether they feel successful. You're in your head instead of your body. You're performing instead of experiencing, and afterwards you feel a little empty, but you brush it off because that's just how it is. But let's talk about the emotional cost of faking. Even if it keeps the peace in the moment, it really does prevent real intimacy. It also teaches your partner the wrong map of your body. It creates a sex life that works for one person, not two. And over time, it often builds a pattern of disconnect or even resentment. So what protects feelings short term often erodes trust long term. And what happens eventually is that your partner keeps doing the same thing because they think it works. You keep pretending it works because you don't want to hurt them. And slowly, sex becomes something you endure rather than something you enjoy. You can even start avoiding intimacy. You start feeling disconnected, or you feel like you're playing a role instead of just being yourself. So what does it teach your partner when you fake? If your partner believes that what they're doing works, they'll keep doing it. They don't know how to explore what actually brings you pleasure. They might think everything is fine when it isn't. Faking an orgasm can unintentionally block growth in sexual closeness. And quite honestly, it starts to breed dishonesty. Here's how. Your partner proudly says, "I know exactly how to make you orgasm," and you smile awkwardly because you know they don't. Or they try something new and you pretend it's amazing because you don't want to discourage them. Or they ask, "Did you finish?" And you say, "Yes," because the truth feels too vulnerable. But you're in your head thinking, "Why can't I just finish?" You start feeling broken. You start feeling like you're failing. You start feeling pressure instead of pleasure. And the more pressure you feel, the harder it becomes to relax. It's a loop, and faking only reinforces it. So let's talk about the shame around not orgasming. Not orgasming doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. Desire, arousal, and orgasm are not the same thing. Stress, trauma, history, medication, emotional safety, and nervous system patterns all influence orgasm, not just technique. And orgasm isn't the only measure of a good sexual experience. So let's talk about honesty as an act of intimacy. Vulnerability during sex deepens connection. Saying things like, "I really like when you do this," or "Can we slow down?" or "I love being close to you." Orgasm isn't the only goal. "I love being close to you" creates space for real intimacy. Authenticity invites closeness. Performance prevents it. So how can you start? Well, you gently guide your partner's hand, or you say, I love this pace. Or you can say something like, can we try something different? Or I'm not there yet, but I'm enjoying this. And suddenly, sex can feel like a shared experience instead of a performance. So how can you talk about this without absolutely crushing everybody involved? You don't need to say, hey, hon, I've been faking it for years. What you can say is, I want us to explore this together. Or, I love when you take your time here. That really helps me feel connected. Or, can we experiment a bit? I want to feel more in my body. The goal isn't criticism, it's collaboration. So here's a real world example to try. You're lying in bed after sex, and instead of dropping a bombshell like, well, that wasn't great, why don't you try saying, I want us to get even closer? Can we talk about what feels good for both of us? You're inviting them in, not shutting them out. Reframing, well, let's talk about reframing sexual pleasure, because sex is not a performance. Pleasure is a shared experience. Orgasms are a bonus, not necessarily the goal. Great sex is curiosity, responsiveness, presence, not pressure, especially for women. So maybe we could stop focusing on the finish line and start focusing on the connection. You start noticing what feels good in your body. You start communicating in small ways. You start letting go of the pressure to achieve something. So what if faking has become a pattern for you? If you've been faking orgasms for years, it's probably a signal that deeper avoidance patterns exist. You may need to rebuild sexual communication slowly. Couples therapy or sex therapy can help if guilt or fear makes honesty feel unsafe. This is repairable, but it requires willingness on both sides. So let's talk about self-responsibility in sexual expression. Your pleasure is your own to know, to express, and to communicate. Your partner cannot read your mind. Your partner should not be expected to guess. And in reality, your partner cannot actually make you orgasm. It comes from you directly. Your safety, your presence, your connection to them. Your body deserves honesty from both of you. So where can you start? You start by exploring your own pleasure. You start learning what feels good for you. You start communicating in small, gentle ways. You start taking responsibility for your own sexual experience instead of outsourcing it to your partner. Faking orgasms might feel like kindness, but real intimacy is built on truth, not performance. You deserve a sex life that is mutual, authentic, and connected. Pleasure is something that two people create together, not something that one person performs to spare the other's feelings. So ask yourself, have I ever prioritized my partner's comfort over my own pleasure? What beliefs do I hold about my responsibility during sex? And what would honesty in my sexuality look like, even in a small step? What kind of sexual relationship do you actually want to build? Thank you for being here with me today. Now, if this episode has stirred something in you, take a moment to breathe and let it land. Sexual honesty can often feel scary, but it's also one of the most powerful ways to deepen connection with yourself and with your partner. You deserve a sex life that feels real, mutual, and grounded in truth, not pressure or performance. Come find me on socials and tell me what resonated for you or what you're still trying to unpack. And if someone in your world needs this conversation, pass it on. Take care of yourself and remember, intimacy grows where honesty lives. One of my big goals for this year is to get this podcast into the ears of more people who genuinely need it. So if this episode has made you think, feel, or see things a little differently, I need to ask you a favour. Follow it, rate it, leave a comment, or share it with someone who might need it too. The more you pay it forward, the more I get to keep doing what I do and hopefully help a few more people along the way. And don't stop there. Be sure to tag me at @VVincieTherapist so that I can see and connect with you. I love hearing your thoughts and takeaways, so my inbox is always open. DM me anytime. Thanks again for listening. I'll catch you next time.